TPN, the Sovereign Americans News Network.
We are now the keepers of an honorable tradition of conservative values and good works. And we must never forget that it is a sacred trust to carry these ideas forward. It demands civility, and it requires decent, constructive, issue-oriented debate. Opponents of this message, they're seeking to marginalize this movement. They want to paint us as ideologically extreme and the counterpoint to liberal intolerance and some outrageous conspiracy theorists aimed at our own government, and unethical, shameless tactics like considering a candidate's children fair game. But unlike the elitists who denounce this movement, they just don't want to hear the message. I've traveled across this great country and I've talked to the patriotic men and women who make up the Tea Party movement, and they're good and kind and selfless, and they are deeply concerned about our country. And today I ask only this. Let's make this movement a tribute to their good example and make it worthy of their hard work and their support. Do not let us have our heads turned from the important work before us, and do not give others an excuse to be able to turn their eyes from this. Let us not get bogged down in the small squabbles. Let us get caught up in the big ideas. To do so would be a fitting tribute to Ronald Reagan, especially tonight, as he would have turned 99. No longer with us, his spirit lives on, and his American dream endures. He knew the best of our country is not all gathered in Washington, D.C. It is here in our communities where families live and children learn, and children with special needs are welcomed in this world and embraced. And thank you for that. Where patriots are brave enough and free enough to be able to stand up and speak up, and where small businesses grow our economy one job at a time. And folks like Reagan, we know that America is still that shining city on a hill. I do believe that God shed his grace on thee. We know that our best days are yet to come. Tea Party Nation, we know that there is nothing wrong with America that together we can fix as Americans. So from the bottom of my heart, and speaking on behalf of millions and millions and millions of Americans who want to encourage this movement is about the people. Who can argue a movement that is about the people and for the people? Remember, all political power is inherent in the people, and government is supposed to be working for the people. That is what this movement is about. Thank you.
Now I'm going to... Are we on? I could be wrong here, but I think y'all like her. A few weeks ago, we worked out something where there would be a brief question and answer session, and we asked some folks on Tea Party Nation to submit some questions that we could ask Governor Palin tonight. And she has graciously agreed to answer a few questions. So we're going to take a few minutes and ask and answer a few questions.
Thank you.
By the way, is this your first time in Nashville?
It is. I haven't even been here for a concert yet, which I brought Piper with me, and she's just going crazy wanting to get out there and see if she can find Miley Cyrus and Taylor Swift. My first time here, though.
Well, I hate to tell her this. Miley Cyrus lives not too far from where we live, so I'm sorry we couldn't work that out for you. Next time. All right, a few questions real quick, and again, these have been submitted by folks on Tea Party Nation. First of all, how do you see the future of the Tea Party movement? Do you see this Tea Party movement becoming a part of the Republican Party, or do you see it becoming a third independent party?
The Republican Party would be really smart to start trying to absorb as much of the Tea Party movement as possible. Because this is the future of our country. The Tea Party movement is the future of politics. And as I said before, this is a beautiful movement because it is shaping the way politics are conducted. You've got really both party machines running scared because they're not knowing, what are we going to do if we don't have Tea Party support? They know that they won't succeed.
Outstanding. At the convention here, we have at least 3 people I know who are running for Congress. So let me ask you something. If you had the chance to interview some of these people, what questions would you ask them to determine whether or not you would support them?
I'm going to ask them if they think that we're taxed enough already. And if they say yes, I'm going to say, well, what are you going to do about it? Because really, we don't want to just hear the talk. We want to know that they've walked the walk, either via a record that perhaps they can prove to us in other elected office that they've had. But I want to encourage people who don't have any elected office experience, not some kind of fat elite resume in their back pocket. I want the fresh folks to come out and run for office and start changing the world via these local, state, and national offices. But if they feel that they've been taxed enough already and that they make us a commitment that they're going to do something about it, and if they just believe in that constitutional limited government that the federal government has got to start abiding by, a lot of the things that perhaps the details, the things on the periphery that perhaps I wouldn't agree with every single aspect of their agenda that they would like to implement, if they've got the basics down, I think it would be wise for us to be supportive.
I'm going to have to learn to wait to let people applaud. Yeah! It goes without saying, the end game for the Tea Party movement for 2010 is a conservative House and a conservative Senate, or as I had the chance to tell some people earlier today, next year at this time we need to see the title former Speaker Nancy Pelosi and former Senator Harry Reid. When we are successful and we have a conservative House and a conservative Senate, as soon as that happens, what do you think are the top 3 things that have got to be done?
We've got to rein in the spending, obviously, and not, raise these extremely high budgets and then say, okay, we're going to freeze a couple programs here. That doesn't do us any good, really. We've got to start reining in the spending. We have got to jumpstart these energy projects that, again, we've heard so much about because it's ridiculous that we have just sitting warehoused under God's green earth here in the United States of America, rich resources, oil and gas and our coal and all these conventional sources of resources. We have got to actually walk that walk to allow them to come to development. And then I think kind of tougher to put our arms around, but allowing America's spirit to rise again by not being afraid.
TPN, the Sovereign Americans News Network.